Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's update, we will have a tropical weather forecast update for you with a super typhoon across the western Pacific Ocean heading towards Guam. We'll be updating you on that, and also multiple storm chances with daily severe weather across especially the southern plains, and it does include the threat for tornadoes. We'll get into those details, and we'll look ahead to Memorial Day and beyond into early June with your temperature, precipitation, and severe weather trends through that period later on in today's video. But first up here, look at this powerful system. This is Super Typhoon Mawar across the western Pacific Ocean heading towards Guam in a very defined eye wall here. Very powerful winds, lots of heavy rain over the open waters, and this is heading westbound towards Guam in the western Pacific Ocean. So if you are near the path of this system, definitely heed the warnings out there. This is a monster storm as it pushes towards the west. But closer to home here across the eastern Pacific Ocean, there is nothing tropical that we have to watch at least over the next 48 to 72 hours across these areas and across the Gulf, the Caribbean, and the tropical Atlantic over the next 48 to 72 hours. It is very quiet as well. So that is definitely some great news. But closer to home, even more into the North America region here, Canada and the United States, we are seeing an active subtropical jet down below the ridge here across the southern plains and especially into Mexico. That's bringing up all of the moisture from the eastern Pacific Ocean, and a couple of disturbances moving down the northwest flow across the Pacific Northwest down into the Rockies and the southern plains. And this will be providing us our first chance for severe weather again as we go into today. It's a slight risk from the Amarillo area and getting down as far south as Abilene, Midland, and San Angelo, Texas into west central Texas this afternoon. This is a slight risk. This is a level 2 out of 5 on the scale, and it comes with a lot of energy. The instability values with these orange shading colors here, this is up to 2,000, perhaps 2,500 joules per kilogram of energy. So more than enough fuel for these storms to become severe, and enough fuel for some dangerous hail out there as well. We could be seeing some golf ball size hailstones or larger, especially if you live in this hatched risk here from Amarillo down through Lubbock, Midland, into the Abilene region and San Angelo, Texas. Be on high alert. We could be seeing 2-inch or larger diameter hailstones later on today. Also, the threat is there for 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts and a 2% shading in the green shaded color from Amarillo down to Lubbock, Midland, the Abilene region, and just west of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex for tornadoes as we go through your Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. So timing this out around the noon time frame, a couple of showers across the Red River there into southern Oklahoma and North Texas. These will not be severe, but definitely moistening up the atmosphere through the early afternoon hours. But by the time we get toward late afternoon, after 3 p.m. Central Daylight Time and toward the dinner time frame, this is 6 o'clock Central Daylight Time, and you do see supercells developing from Amarillo down to Lubbock and even farther south toward the Fort Stockton, Texas region, and it will be taking advantage of all of this energy building up throughout the afternoon and into the early evening, and this will be eating up all the energy. So as we go through the evening hours towards midnight on your Wednesday morning, we will see a small MCS, a mesoscale convective system pushing from west to east across north central Texas, and this will be arriving towards the western side of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex after midnight, but it will likely be in a weakening phase as it starts to outrun the better instability here. You still have the stronger instability across south central Texas, but as it moves to the east into East Texas, it will be running out of fuel as we get into the overnight hours. So that's why I think the severe weather threat is rather low for the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex through tonight. But if you are still with me on today's video and you like the content so far, be sure to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below. It definitely helps out more than you know. I definitely appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel, be sure to press the subscribe button down below. It's absolutely free, and you get all of this daily weather content at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time on this channel, especially if you like detailed weather breakdowns on southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics. This is definitely the channel for you, so subscribe down below. Definitely appreciate it. But going forward through the middle and late portion of this week, we have a couple more setups for stronger storms. We have a level level 1 out of 5 in the dark green area here from the eastern Colorado down through northeastern New Mexico, the Texas and Oklahoma panhandle, and into northwest Texas on Wednesday, in a very similar area as we go into Thursday. So some low end severe weather chances going right straight through the end of this week. And when we add all the rainfall up all the way through Friday morning on May 26th across the central and southern plains, we do see a couple of inches of rain, especially down here into northwest Texas, the Wichita Falls area, getting down toward Abilene and the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex, especially west of there. We will be seeing widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain through the end of the week, beneficial rains at that. But as we go through the upper level pattern today, we have a ridge building over the top here across southern Canada and the north central states here. This does include the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes region, and that will really continue largely through the end of the week on Thursday, May 25th. So what this will do is, with the atmosphere remaining parked like that, temperatures will also be warm for several days in a row. So starting today, temperatures will be well into the 80s, some upper 80s likely across the Dakotas region, getting into Minnesota here, some 90s down into West Texas with the drier soil out there as we go through today and as we go into Wednesday. Now, a couple of changes are there as well. We have a backdoor cold front dropping south and westbound out of the Great Lakes into the upper Midwest and Ohio Valley on Wednesday and into Thursday, a little bit further inland there. And that means some cooler lake waters will be kind of overriding this weather pattern just a little bit across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Temperatures will be back down into the 40s and 50s for a brief period on Wednesday, with the heat building a little bit further into the central United States. And then as we go into Thursday, we start to moderate that across the western lakes, but across the New England region from Maine back through New York State and parts of northern Pennsylvania, we'll still be seeing those 50s and low 60s for highs on Thursday with the influence of a trough and that backdoor cold front. But the 80s will be there across the middle of the country by the time we get into that Thursday time frame. And as we look ahead to the Memorial Day weekend itself, this is from Sunday, May 28th, all the way through the opening stages of June on Thursday, June 1st. We have the ridge again parked over the north central states. That's where we'll have the above normal temperatures. We have a trough on either side of the country. We got a trough down here into the desert southwest from southern California down through West Texas. And then we also have a much stronger trough across the Carolinas, Georgia, and North Florida, providing us with slightly below average temperatures down here through the opening stages there of June. So looking at that briefly for Memorial Day itself on Monday, May 29th, we see the heat starting to build across the Mississippi Valley, especially from the middle and lower Mississippi Valley southwest into the southern plains. That's where we see the widespread 80s and even a few low 90s can be expected, especially across the Arklatex and the Arkla-Miss region here on Monday. And looking at the precipitation trends through the Memorial Day weekend holiday itself, you can see the heaviest of the precipitation will be across the Rocky states, getting into the central Great Plains, and then the drier conditions will be favored across the Great Lakes and into New England during this period. So looking at Monday, Memorial Day itself, it does look rather stormy across South Dakota, getting into Nebraska here, and especially as you go south towards North Texas, Oklahoma, those areas will likely be seeing some stronger thunderstorms with some heavy rain, possibly some damaging winds, large hail, and I can't even rule out even a couple of tornadoes going into the Memorial Day holiday itself. And that's why my severe weather forecast for Monday, Memorial Day on May 29th is possible for severe weather occurring from Nebraska down into far eastern Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, and as far south as North Texas, including the Dallas-Fort Worth area, getting into Oklahoma City, Wichita, Topeka, and then as far north as the Lincoln, Nebraska region as we go into Monday itself. And looking at the rainfall, it could not come at a better time. We have a significant drought continuing across the Central Plains. However, it does coincide with the Memorial Day weekend, but we definitely need to dig out of this drought. We've been in such a long period drought drought here of extreme, exceptional drought for such a long time. So going through this upcoming weekend, Saturday, Sunday, into Monday, Memorial Day, we will be seeing some significant rain across Kansas, getting into Oklahoma, North Texas, and then parts of the lower Missouri Valley there. We will be seeing widespread multiple inches of rain, 1, 2, 3 inches of rain or more in some spots going through this weekend. So definitely will be helping out and chipping away at that drought. And you can see it is building significantly across portions of Nebraska, especially into west central Kansas where the maroon reds are. That is an exceptional drought. That's the worst drought on the categories here. And then that extends a little bit further to the south and west into western Oklahoma and west Texas, with more of the severe drought more widespread into those areas. So we'll take any rain we can get. And looking at the longer range pattern going into early June now, this is your 500 millibar height anomalies. You see the pattern really does not break down too much going into June 1st. But as we go through June 7th, we still have the trough up here across the New England states and into southeastern Canada, a ridge in the middle over top of the troughs down here into the south, and then another trough diving in from the west coast down into southern California around that June 7th time frame. So as a result, our temperatures will be very seasonable across much of the country. The heat will be squashed down here to the south for the most part, or up to the north across southern Canada during June 1st. And that really continues through the end of the first week of June through June 7th. But the trough across southeastern Canada and New England will have a major influence on our temperatures. They will be held back into the 50s and 60s for a widespread area there into Quebec, getting into Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, probably as far west-southwest as New York State and Pennsylvania, going through the end of the first week in June. But looking at the precipitation trends, this is your total accumulated precipitation during that first week in June from June 1st through June 7th. And you do see the heaviest of this will be falling largely across the north and central plains, with some southern plains action as well. And we could be seeing some rainfall across the Midwest, but probably not a lot across these regions. So I'm a little bit concerned about a drought, especially in the Illinois Valley, eastward into Indiana and western Ohio, starting to develop if we don't see much rainfall getting into the last few days of the first week into June. Now looking at the Cape values, this is your convective available potential energy, the thunderstorm fuel needed for severe weather. You do see it building more significantly across the central and southern plains from Kansas down into Oklahoma and into Texas, and that's exactly where the severe weather is on my severe weather forecast. So from June 1st through June 7th, from South Dakota all the way down into Texas here near the Houston region, that is the Great Plains setup again going through the first week into June. It does change a little bit. So going into the second week in June now, around June 8th, we have a trough, a very strong trough possibly just south of the Aleutian Islands, a ridge over top there and towards portions of southwestern, southern Canada, the northwestern United States. That trough, again, another strong trough across southeastern Canada and over New England, influencing our temperatures. But that starts to break down a little bit, getting closer toward Father's Day weekend. This is around June 14th, 15th time frame. You see the ridge really building across southeastern Canada, the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and southward towards the southeast, but a lot more troughs diving into the western two-thirds of the country. That does mean more unsettled weather for the Rockies and the Great Plains during this period. So, but first, looking at the temperatures, seasonable for the most part going through June 8th, but look at the heat building across the upper Midwest, the Mississippi Valley, and the eastern third of the country, getting towards that Father's Day weekend time frame with more troughs out west. That means cooler temperatures across the Pacific Northwest, the Rockies here, and parts of the desert Southwest at times, getting through that Father's Day weekend time frame. And where the precipitation will be across these areas from June 8th through June 14th, it will largely be across the Plain States, getting into the Rockies, and then eastbound into the Tennessee Valley. That's where the heaviest of the precipitation will be. There could be some rain up here into the upper Midwest or the central Great Lakes, but not a lot of rain really through the middle of June. So I am a little bit more worried about a minor drought starting to develop in parts of the upper Midwest or the Great Lakes during this time frame. It probably won't be a fast developing drought, but we'll just have to wait and see as we get a little bit closer. But nonetheless, looking at the instability again, it will be building a little bit further to the north. The strongest of it will be down here likely into the southern plains and in parts of the Missouri Valley. That is where I do have likely severe weather returning across parts of South Dakota, Nebraska, getting into Kansas here, southwestern Iowa, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Arkansas during that June 8th and June 14th timeframe. But we could have some severe weather. It is possible as far north as Minnesota, northeast Iowa, getting into south central Wisconsin, Illinois, and even as far east as Indiana as we get into that time frame. So we will be able to understand this weather pattern a little bit more as we get a little bit further on here into the future. We will be updating this in the coming updates over the next few days. Well, if you want additional weather forecast updates in addition to this video and this channel, press the description down below and follow me on Twitter at hweather420. I definitely appreciate it. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching today's video. Always appreciate everybody watching each and every morning. If you liked the video today, press the thumbs up button down below. I definitely appreciate that as well. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Tuesday, everybody, a great rest of the week, and I will see you all in the next video.